It's New Brew Thursday! Woo! And I'm really excited because we're doing Logsdon
Because I've been
Farmhouse
touching him.
Ales. Yes, there's that. But beer.
Beer.
Touching in beer. It's, so.
What are we doing?
We're doing Logsdon.
Logsdon.
Logsdon Farmhouse Ales. They're up in Oregon, in Hood River. They are a new co-op brewery, is that correct?
Yeah, they are a co-op. The reason that I'm really excited is David Logsdon is actually one of the founders of Wyeast, who, if you're a brewer or a home brewer, then you'd be well aware of Wyeast. I mean, it's pretty much them and White Labs with the premier suppliers.
Wyeast, why?
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
That was funny.
I got the John seal of approval.
Like how you're so surprised. You're like, wow.
Wow, he's like, that was funny. I didn't laugh, but it was funny. I did enjoy it. I chuckled on the inside.
Yeah, but
I've never used Wyeast actually.
I've used it a couple times. I've used it a few times.
What's the ones we use?
We use White Labs.
White Labs.
Yeah, because we're in Southern California, so we're pretty much in like White Labs territory. But I've actually
White
used,
Labs country.
Yeah, I've used Wyeast a few times just because they'll have like offbeat yeasts, like their Platinum series. They have a couple of like Belgian yeasts that White Labs doesn't have.
And they do something a little different with their yeast. Just, God, you're so violent right now.
Well, it's like you guys talk too long.
Dude.
I want to drink this beer because it's calling to me.
Okay.
They have like a whole smack pack thing going on, and it's like
Yeah, exactly.
it's different from. There's like this whole argument whether White Labs is actually 100 billion cells per vial compared to Wyeast, but yeah, they do have like this. It's liquid yeast in a different format. It's in a bag compared to
Wyeast.
a vial.
Why you know ferment?
Like a lot of different varieties.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite yeasts ever is the French Saison from Wyeast, which, bringing it back, is actually one of the reasons that I was so excited about these is because, I mean, first of all, it's finally spring, and so we're getting back into Saison season.
And he shaved. Did you notice?
Oh, yes, it's my seasonal
It's
transition.
Matt's spring shave.
I'm just going to do this for the rest of the show. Stroke you nicely.
This is our first year with Matt. We're all learning together. Matt's facial hair,
my transition.
His shaving habits.
It's like he awoke from hibernation.
So is it just do the curtains match the drapes, so to speak? Or the carpet match the drapes?
too. The curtains, I got that.
Well, yeah, I think the audience got the gist.
So,
See if you shaved your balls.
Yes, I do.
awesome. Manscaping.
Yes, but anyways, no, I was gonna say I'm excited because I love Saison and he's doing Saison. So
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. Cheers.
It's a funky beer. We can talk about balls, right?
Oh my God, this smells
No, we're
amazing.
not on the funky one yet. Actually, one other thing. There are two different versions. We have the Saison, and then we also have the Saison Beretta, which we're going to be doing later. But
what I like about this beer is they have really cool labels. They have their Kiliwit, which is Kilimanjaro with the two giraffes, which I think is really, really cool.
Oh wow, that's good.
It sounds like they kind of support the whole like green earth movement kind of sustainable thing.
They're
very
very conscious.
Right, it's very organic. And
it is organic.
Right. But they give back their grain to they have like an actual farm and...
That's another, there's so many cool things about this brewery. They are an actual farm. They have livestock on the farm and their spent grain goes to feed their livestock. It's actually funny because a lot of times breweries will, they'll give their spent grain to farmers.
Some other farmer and then get the cheese back or whatever.
Yeah, but like they actually are feeding the grain to their livestock.
So
on
it's very incestuous.
They do other things outside of creating yeast and brewing, and like why do they have livestock?
Oh, it's a
brewers
farm.
need a pastime too.
Well, I'm just asking.
I don't.
I'm not suggesting that you guys have sex with sheep.
God, I'm not either. I'm asking.
No, I wasn't suggesting that. I was gonna. No, I'm not.
So you don't know why they have livestock?
No, I don't. No. Well, it's like they have. Yeah, they have because they have livestock, but then they also have.
Well, they grow their own grain and fruit trees and that kind of stuff too, right?
I don't know if they grow their own grain. They do have hop fields, which they're using for fresh
it could be
hop.
that it's all like circular. So like their livestock helps produce manure and fertilizer and whatnot for,
there you go.
like it could be like a whole like self-sustaining farm kind of thing.
Yeah. So far, I'm really digging.
If I had to pick a negative thing out of this beer, the only negative I have is that they need to commit to their waxing.
What?
Oh, what? No.
Theirs is the most poorly waxed bottle of beer I've ever seen.
Stop. Matt, why does this wax look this way?
Because it's beeswax.
It's actual beeswax.
It's legit
Oh,
beeswax.
all right. Then I take it back.
It's really nice. It's got that nice balance of, it's got that, it's fruity and it's spicy,
Right, and neither is so much that it overpowers the other. It's a nice balance.
Exactly.
It's a perfect balance. I mean, you smell it and it's very inviting. Like, this, I want to drink this.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of beers we've at least talked about a bunch of beers where they claim like it's the perfect summer beer. This to me is the perfect summer beer. It's
Saison.
no flavor is so overpowering that you get tired of it.
Right.
It's
Exactly. That's a good way to put
and it's not heavily alcohol, right?
It's 7.5.
Heavily alcohol.
It's not heavy. It's not heavy alcohol.
Or heavily alcoholic.
Yes, there you go. I don't mix my tenses properly. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Adverbs, they run along with the adjectives.
You're multi-tense.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not overbearing.
There you go. So I mean, I feel like I could drink like a bottle by myself or two and not be puking in the bushes.
Yeah. And it's nice because
But this is 7.5, so it's kind of...
It's not sessionable by any means, but it's not.
It's not a session beer, but it won't knock.
Yeah,
you
it won't knock you over
Yeah.
the head with it. So.
Yeah, but it's nice because the flavor, I think, the palates it leans much more towards the fruity side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a fruity, bready kind of wholesome smell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just it seems like it would just complement. I don't know, like fruit. Like
I just
summery kind of springish.
I see myself sitting out on a lawn chair on a summer day, reading a good book with a bottle of this and a nice plate of cheeses,
cheese. Yeah, cheese.
and having that be the moment. Like you have those moments where you're like,
everything is perfect.
yeah, it's like life fucking rocks right now. That would be the moment I'd have with this beer.
Well,
that.
you're quite the cheese dude. I mean, is there a cheese that you could think of that you would?
I would go with like an aged Gouda, maybe.
Okay.
Or
Maybe
like I'm thinking sharp flavors on the cheeses for this because the fruit and the spicy characteristics of it. You're not going to want to go. I wouldn't go with something earthy just because I think it'd be overpowered.
maybe even a triple cream brie.
Well, triple cream brie goes with every beer.
seriously.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think the creaminess of that would really work with the mouthfeel. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, and this feels like one of those beers that you could match. I wouldn't put a blue up against it.
It wouldn't stand out.
It would overpower it, but I mean, pretty much most other cheeses I could see going fairly well with this. This would be a good, like, when you go to those places and they give you the assorted cheese thing, and you're like, okay, one of these cheeses goes well with this beer. The other ones are all just kind of out of place.
Yeah.
This beer would stand up with all of them.
Yeah.
See, I mean, this is like, I want this as an air freshener. It's perfect.
Right. Yeah,
It smells
definitely.
that good.
Yeah.
It's not like too funky. It's not too sweet. It's not too fruity. It's not too...
Everything
much of
complements
anything.
each other.
It's
Yeah.
just like...
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to kiss the ass of one
David.
of the founders of Wyeast,
David
but
Logsdon.
If you're making yeast, you got to know what you're doing
That's
with beer.
exactly my thing, and that's another reason that I heard about this, and I was like, it's right up my alley because
Really though?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't say that about somebody that's like owns a hop field. You wouldn't say, well, if you grow hops, then you know how to make beer.
Well, the thing is,
I mean, yeast is a major component of the flavor of beer, but
everything. Yeast is everything.
no, the recipe of a beer and the blending of the proper hops and the blending of the proper grains is also a massive component to this.
It is, but I don't know, and especially like for brewing.
Yeast will make or break a beer. I'll agree with that. I don't think it's everything.
It's a major component.
For me, I think that yeast and the way that you ferment and your pitching rates will have a bigger impact than if you're using, a pound of hops or a pound and a quarter of hops per barrel. You know what I mean?
For this particular beer, the yeast makes or breaks this beer.
This works really well. We're going to continue this argument on our own while you go watch Master Pairings. And when we get back, one of us will probably have a black eye, but the argument will be settled.
But we have another version of this beer.
Yes, so we'll be doing that. So cheers to Master Pairings. Peace out.
Bam.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Master Pairings with me, your host, Bill Sysak. Today I have Stephen Johnson from New Brew Thursday.
Peace.
So, Stephen, today I thought I'd do some of my spaghetti carbonara.
Spaghetti carbonara.
Carbonara.
Okay, carbonara.
Okay, so what you do is you take a little olive oil, a little onions, a little pancetta or bacon if you don't have pancetta, and you saute them in a pan.
Which smells delicious, I might add.
And add a little garlic. And then at the same time, you're cooking your pasta. You move your pasta directly over into the pan.
Okay.
You whip up 2 eggs with some Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Take it off the heat and stir it into the pasta so it makes a cream sauce. The eggs and the Parmesan cheese combined.
Okay.
Then you season with copious amounts of black pepper.
Right.
Flat leaf parsley, which is called Italian parsley.
Right.
And a little more cheese.
Nice.
Sometimes you can separate an egg and put an egg yolk on top and then mix it in at tableside.
Right.
Since you're a little squeamish about things like
I'm not
oysters and
squeamish.
whatnot,
Well,
I decided not to do that.
how many weeks will go by before you let the oysters go?
52 weeks.
52 weeks.
Year.
Yeah. Nice. Open
52
this
comments.
valve. Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
Let's just move on to this beer.
Okay.
Nothing to see here.
We have a great German Doppelbock by Spaten Optimator. The first Doppelbock was by who? Do you happen to know that?
The very first one ever made?
Yes.
By Stefano.
Incorrect. Good guess, I guess. I thought you knew. Paulaner.
Oh, Paulaner, yeah. Okay.
We've done it on our expert drinking episode. The monks of Paulus. They did Salvatore, the liquid bread, which was Salvation.
Okay.
And they would have it. They needed a stronger beverage for you. Yes, you may pour while I'm talking.
Yes.
They needed a stronger beverage during Lenten times because they had to fast from sunrise to sunset, but they could have beer. Now,
Nice. I like the
when they
loopholes.
first made the beer, a better loophole than that was when they first made the beer, it was very strong and delicious. The Pope was concerned because they're not supposed to be having a good time as a monk. You're supposed to be suffering. So
This is religion, people. It's not supposed to be fun.
they sent him a barrel, and luckily, traveling over the hot months, going over hills and through bad weather, by the time it got to the Pope, it was a disgustingly soured, spoiled beer. So the Pope basically said, yes, you may have as much of this as you'd like during Lent, and they made it. So now, as a tribute, all German breweries and most other breweries name their Doppelbocks with an ATOR on the end.
Right.
So when you're out shopping, if you see beers with ATOR on the end, there will almost always be a Doppelbock.
Right.
So this is Spaten Optimator. It's a higher ABV for a German lager. See it on there somewhere, Stephen?
7.6.
7.6. So nice high ABV, good
Can we cheers
roasted
this so
malts.
I can drink it?
Yes, I knew you were waiting. Beautiful sweet nose, caramelization.
Just like it's supposed to taste. Delicious.
Delicious.
Nice roastiness.
Pumpernickel bread in your mouth. Liquefied.
All right, so shall try some of your spaghetti carbonara. I thought you said spaghetti carbonade, which is a different dish.
Yeah, definitely, because
I don't even think it actually exists.
You just invented it.
I just invented it. So
You're okay. Sorry, I don't have my spoon.
All right, this is going to happen, people. I apologize.
Creamy.
Oh, yeah. That's so
No
insane
better.
because there's no sauce.
Well, the sauce is the eggs.
Yeah, but I mean,
And a little, if your sauce is too tight, in other words, if it doesn't spread, if you make too much pasta and it's too dry, take a little bit of your pasta water and just put it in there and keep mixing until
Thin it down a little bit?
Yeah, till it's so the right consistency.
that's delicious.
Yeah. Oh wow! Well, it really just
Blows up the roastiness on this, like just brings it forward. Very tasty. This works.
goes well with the pancetta.
And I think the creaminess of the noodles really enhances the mouthfeel of this beer.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a very exciting beverage.
I'd eat this all day long.
Yeah. Now this beer, of course, would go with a lot of great meats. Mm-hmm. But
That's kind of an obby pair.
I wanted to show you something simple like a pasta.
I'm getting too much pasta. I don't want to be like,
And a creamy pasta dish at that, even though there's no cream or no butter. Simply olive oil and egg.
That's what really throws me off on this, because you expect that this has a nice light Alfredo sauce on it or something, but it doesn't.
It's better.
Yeah.
It's better. It's better for you, and it's better. And it's so delicious. And like you said, it's just a wonderful pairing with this beer.
Yeah, it is. This really works a lot. I mean, I like Optimator as a whole, but this really enhances it.
Liquid bread, people. It's perfect. You always have bread with your pasta. Here we go.
There you go. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for coming to another Master Pairings.
So drinking this makes me like wonder if some of my homebrewed saisons. I've brewed like 4, and they're all different. Like the one that's the most extreme was the habanero saison, which obviously what I'm about to say doesn't apply.
Right.
But I think a little bit of age on saison.
No. It's not going anywhere.
Chill, dude.
It was. I saw it bubbling.
You need to calm down.
Sorry, I saw it bubbling.
This is Matt's way of saying, I want the first glass pour.
I think a little bit of age on a saison, not like 6 months, but maybe 3 or 4 might do it well. That's just what from my homebrew. I'm not a saison expert by any means, but I mean, it seems like
We need Drew Beecham in here.
we do actually. Yes, it seems like you need to give a little bit of time for everything to develop.
Yeah, well,
Matt Becker thinks that reds and ambers are the same thing. That was for Bill. That was just for Bill.
That was a diss.
That was a diss. I'm sorry.
I understand though. I understand.
Inside joke.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
though? Like
No, I do, and it's
it's almost like saison is the Belgium version of like a nice stout.
Yeah, well,
It needs time to develop and meld.
It's
I
kind
don't know. I could be wrong.
It's one of those things that like saison is just weird because
Honestly,
there is more variety in saison than any other style. I mean, you can have a saison that's real hop forward, that's real malt forward, that's real dry, that has a little bit of body.
But something
because I don't think there's really anything you can label and say this is what a saison is. A saison is kind of like it's a blending of a bunch of different flavors that kind of where you drink it and you're like, this is a saison.
Well,
But I mean, it's something that's as well balanced as this. That's what I'm saying.
I think for me personally, I think you're right. Maybe like 3 to 6 months of age does a saison
We
fantastically.
could be completely wrong.
But if you were to lay this down for like a year or 2, I think it would go.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying
South.
years.
Where
stouts you can
I
do
don't
that.
really agree with that either because I mean you can have bottles of like Saison DuPont that have been laid down for like a year or 2 and they'll take on a little bit of oxidation and they'll take on a little bit of like a kind of quality and then there are certain saisons that are going to be more hop present and so those you want to drink right away and so it just
these are dated for like January 2015 and December of 2016. So I mean that's like 3 and 4 years.
Right.
Really? You're right.
Yeah. So I mean, they will age. They will age. They will age well. But what I'm saying is that they will not age the way that like an Imperial Russian stout will age.
Saying,
Well, that's true.
My point with the homebrew was like a saison doesn't seem to be like a beer you want to drink young. You want to give it some time to develop, meaning a couple months. I think before it's at its.
Okay, you need to clink glasses.
Because by the way, we're doing Saison Bretta now.
Yeah, well, let's get off the homebrew thing.
Which is the Brettanomyces version.
So good.
So this is the
oh God, I love Brettanomyces.
So this is the same beer spiked with bread?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
One other cool thing I should actually say is that these are actually primed in the bottle with pear juice, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. So they use the natural sweetness of the pear and the sugars in the pear juice to actually
Well, it's just like when people,
which apparently it works because this has got a lot of head.
I would imagine because a lot of homebrewers do it with honey, and this like pears might give it a drier kind of
I can see that totally.
bottle condition. So where you don't get
because
the sweetness from the honey that's left over or whatever is in the honey that's left over in the beer.
Random Steven Johnson cider factoid. Pear is the only one I like. Because it's driest. It's like the driest cider you'll drink. Because the ciders get too sugary.
I've had some pear cider that have been a little on the sugar.
Well, no, there's a lot of really bad commercial cider out there. Oh my God, there's some horrible ones out there.
Yeah, there really is.
But then there's some really good ones. I like Julian's. They're down south of us.
Now this just burns off your tongue. Like it's everything that this was. This is like it's completely different. It's really, really dry.
Super dry.
Super dry.
Super funky.
But this, I think, is the ultimate it's really hot outside. I'm gonna sit and drink a beer kind of thing.
I can see that.
Maybe this is like more of a spring, and this is more of a summer.
There you go. It's nice because
Actually, you know what? Can I reverse that?
Really?
Yeah, because I'm thinking this one had some residual like wetness to it that I enjoyed that I think I would like more on a hot summer day. Whereas the dryness.
There's one thing we know Steven loves. It's
Wet.
residual wetness.
Residual wetness. I'm not even gonna go down that road because I've been talked to already. I'm on verbal probation.
He's almost kicked off the show.
Apparently, I go too far. Whatevs. But anyway, with this though, as dry as it is, I almost feel like it would withstand some colder weather. If I'm sitting outside and I got a nice breeze and it's kind of chilly, I'm wearing my hoodie.
You know what? I had to say fall time. It has that kind of earthiness to it that I think would be complementary to that sort of setting.
Right.
I think, but it's nice. One thing that I really like is it has a sort of fruitiness that wasn't present in the other one. It's almost like a pineapple-y, tropical thing.
Yeah.
That can come from certain strains of Brett.
It was as you were talking before you said pineapple, I was totally thinking in my head I'm getting this tropical fruit pineapple thing. And you said that, I was like, oh my God, we're so right there.
So more spring then.
Yeah. Thinking a little more spring. The funny thing is last year as we came into fall, I made a comment on the show that I'm going to own up to right now, where I was sick of Saisons. Can we get off the Saison train, please? Blah, blah, blah.
Steve. You obviously apologize for that comment, right?
Well, no, yeah, and I do, and because over the course,
apologize again.
not to you,
I was personally offended.
don't care. Anyway, over the winter time, I had some Saisons. Coming into spring, I've had Saisons. And what I'm realizing is that, aside from maybe a cold, rainy day, and maybe if we lived in the Midwest or the mountains where it got snowy, probably wouldn't be thrilled with it. It's definitely not a cold, kind of wet, bundled up day kind of beer.
Right.
But it works pretty much for everything else.
Yeah, it
And
really does.
I can't really hate on Saisons at all. They really are, I guess I'm kind of, I'm not leaving my hophead roots, but, kind of going into, where Saisons are my session beer.
And see, the thing is I will go ahead and say it right now. Saison is my favorite style. Period. There is so much variety, and there is so much that you can do with the style. For one thing, it's wonderful seeing how creative people get with it.
Right.
I mean, you look at breweries like Upright. Their 4 main beers are all Saisons, but they're all radically different. You look at Stillwater.
Right.
He's doing all kinds of creative things with this one style, but he has radically different beers that all fall under basically the same heading. And that's just one thing that I love about Saison as a concept. You know? You can have a brewery that is literally based completely around Saison.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few now. Logsdon is one of them. Crooked Stave is another. Stillwater.
They're more
Funkworks, yeah.
Crooked Stave is more of a bready, all Brett kind of thing.
I kind of, and I know I shouldn't, but I kind of do classify all those into one Saison-esque kind of style.
In their own little world.
Yeah, it's kind of their own.
What would you classify those funky Brett beers to be?
Well, and I guess you could sort of consider those old world style,
Saisons,
like Belgian
Crooked
farmhouse.
Stave you consider old world farmhouse? No,
Well,
I think Chad is doing weird and different things.
Well, it's not that it's an old world style of beer. It's that it's in the old world, Saisons were all Brettanomyces spiked because they were open air fermented.
Right.
And so, a Saison back in the Middle Ages tasted like this.
But Chad's
not like
taking it
this,
to the
but
extreme.
Yeah.
What can I do with Brettanomyces and?
I should ask Chad that. Next time I talk to him, I'm gonna ask him, does he consider his beers to be Saisons?
Yeah. And the thing for me is obviously he's doing it on a very scientific level, but just that kind of flavor profile, that earthy, spicy, fruity, that rustic kind of character that, Brettanomyces can give off a lot of times too. That's the kind of perception that you get with that, old world rustic, farmhousey kind of thing. And that's where I think the association comes from in my head, But that's what I get with just Saison in general.
Personally,
so
between these two, I don't have a favorite. I think they're both great for what they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Brett version of this beer, this beer is great, and then you put Brett on it. It's
a different experience, but it's just as
it does amplify it, But it's not like I'm gonna go, oh.
It's like riding the Matterhorn and getting off and being like, that was the greatest thing ever, and then getting on Space Mountain and being like, that was the greatest thing ever. And they're both awesome, but they're just different types of roller coasters.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I mean,
one has flashing lights and one has Yetis.
Yetis. Well,
my eyes have kind of been open to.
Go ahead.
Oh, to like I didn't know like the whole backstory with Wyeast, that especially since they're now doing beers and stuff. It's really cool.
Well, it's just the guy. He's kind of separate from them, like Wyeast.
Okay, well,
yeah, but you get the idea.
It's in the family of Wyeast.
Right.
It's so cool to see Wyeast people doing this thing.
It's good to see them like
credibility
branching out. Yeah, they're branching out. They're doing new things. It's
Which
awesome.
also White Labs is doing too. They opened a tasting room.
Chris White is also opening a brewery, right?
They have a tasting room.
Yeah,
that
the
just
tasting room.
opened.
Yeah.
So it's like they're both doing the same thing. Not to discredit White Labs at all, because White Labs is also the shit.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, this is like the Wyeast fanboy episode, but
nice,
you know,
pretty much.
Well, and
until we have bottled beers from White Labs, which will be epic,
right?
It's just
well,
cool.
I think, and as far as distribution goes, I have no idea where they go outside of Oregon and California. I know we're getting a boatload of this stuff. It's everywhere that I've gone. And it's not expensive. Like these bottles are like $10 a piece.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I mean, this is a great freaking beer for $10.
Yeah, it is. Logsdon, great job. Look forward to trying more of your stuff.
Cheers.
Yeah, as always, stay safe and drink beer.